Hello and welcome to IAMC Radio and Podcast.
Great to be here.
Today we're going to explore the top news headlines for April 29th.
Yeah, we've gathered reports on quite a few significant events happening around the world and locally.
Exactly. Our aim is just to give you a clear, concise overview of what's making news right now.
So where do we start?
Let's begin with some really sad news out of northern China, in Liaoning province.
Ah, yes, the restaurant fire. That was Wednesday, wasn't it? Erupted shortly after noon.
That's right. It was in a 2 or 3 story building. Looked pretty serious from the images.
Very serious. Flames just pouring out of the windows and doors.
And the outcome was tragic. Reports say 22 people died.
And 3 others injured.
Yeah.
Emergency services got there quickly, but the fire was just too intense, apparently.
Do they know what caused it yet?
Not yet. It's still under investigation, no official explanation given.
It does make you think, though. You hear about industrial accidents in China sometimes.
Well, yeah, and often it comes down to, safety regulations maybe not being enforced as strictly as they should be, or just negligence sometimes. It's a recurring issue.
Right. Okay, moving closer home, Nigeria. There's been an arrest making waves.
You mean E-Money, the Lagos socialite Emeka Okonkwo Daniel.
Yeah, the EFCC arrested him. Reports say it happened Monday night at his place in Omole, Lagos.
And the charge. Something about currency abuse.
Allegedly, yes. Abusing Naira and dollar notes. Sources inside the EFCC mention spraying U.S. dollars specifically.
Which could violate the Foreign Exchange Act, right?
Exactly. So preliminary investigations are ongoing. He'll likely be charged once that's done.
And I heard he might be flown to Abuja.
That's the word, yeah. For more questioning. It kind of follows that recent case with Terry Apala, the musician.
Oh yeah, he was also remanded for Naira abuse, wasn't he? Seems like the EFCC is cracking down on this.
Seems that way. Okay, also on the financial front in Nigeria, but a different angle. The central bank.
The CBN, what have they been up to?
They're trying to ease the paperwork for the Pan-African Payment and Settlement System, PAPSS.
Ah, PAPSS. That's meant to make cross-border payments easier within Africa, right? Boost trade.
Precisely. So for smaller transactions, they're saying individuals doing up to $2,000 and companies up to $5,000.
They can just use their existing KYC and AML documents, the ones the banks already have?
Exactly. Know your customer, anti-money laundering stuff.
Yeah.
No extra hoops for those amounts.
But bigger transactions still need the full documentation, I assume.
Oh, definitely. That hasn't changed. But this should streamline things for everyday users and small businesses.
And what about the banks sourcing the foreign currency for these PAPS settlements?
Good point. Authorized dealers can now get it directly from the Nigerian foreign exchange market. No need for specific CBN approval each time.
Okay, that sounds more efficient.
Yeah, though they did add that any export money coming back through PAPSS needs to be certified by the processing bank.
Right, checks and balances.
Sure.
So the overall goal is lower costs, easier trade.
And just generally strengthening Nigeria's position in intra-African commerce. The CBN is really pushing for banks and businesses and individuals, too, to adopt PPSS fully.
Makes sense. It could be a significant boost if it works smoothly.
Definitely. However, still on the topic of currency in Nigeria, there's been a rather disturbing video circulating.
Oh, what's this about?
It reportedly shows some Chinese nationals at a mining site, and they appear to be publicly, abusing the Naira.
Abusing how? Like spraying it?
Exactly. The video apparently shows one man spraying Naira notes, while Nigerians, and get this, even someone in a police uniform are scrambling to pick it up.
Wow, that's incredibly disrespectful to the currency. And the police officer aspect is deeply concerning.
Highly concerning. It sparked a lot of condemnation, obviously. People are pointing out the CBN Act prohibits spraying and mishandling Naira.
Yeah, there are fines, even imprisonment, theoretically.
Theoretically. But enforcement, especially, some argue, when foreigners are involved, seems weak sometimes.
And there was more to the video.
Yes, reportedly footage of a Chinese woman distributing items to minors at the site, which raises immediate red flags about potential child labor.
Oh, that's not good at all.
And women were apparently also seen working as laborers there. Plus, another image showed a mobile police officer, a mopiol, opening a car door for a Chinese national.
Which people see as, inappropriate deference, right? Almost symbolic.
That's how many are interpreting it. And it sort of echoes a past incident where a Chinese national tried to claim cash given to police was just a food subsidy.
Right, I remember that. It just adds to a whole layer of concerns about conduct at some of these sites.
Definitely a situation demanding attention and likely investigation. Okay, let's shift gears to a major court ruling.
This must be the Osinachi Nwachukwu case, the gospel singer.
Yes. Her widower, Peter Nwachukwu, the FCT High Court in Abuja has delivered its sentence, guilty of culpable homicide for causing her death back on April 8th, 2022. The sentence for that count is death by hanging.
Wow. Death sentence, that's significant.
Very. The prosecution presented, I think, 17 witnesses and quite a few documents. The defense asked for mercy, but the prosecution pushed for the law to take its course.
Were there other charges too?
Yes, several. He got various prison terms, 2 years, 3 years, 6 months, and some fines on other counts related to the abuse. Counts like 2, 3, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 18, and fines on 6 and 7.
It's such a sad story. I remember the initial report suggested she died from throat cancer.
That was the first story, yes. But then allegations of severe domestic violence surfaced from family and friends.
And he denied it, didn't he? Claimed it was lung cancer and that he never hit her.
He did, but the court clearly found the evidence against him compelling. A very somber outcome.
Indeed. Okay, what else is happening in Nigeria?
Let's talk healthcare. The federal government is pledging support for Kwara State.
Support for what specifically?
Local production of medicines and vaccines. This came from the coordinator of PVAC, that's the Presidential Initiative for Unlocking the Healthcare Value Chain.
Right, PVAC. They're under the Ministry of Health and Social Welfare, trying to build up Nigeria's capacity, aren't they?
Exactly. Making the country less reliant on imports for essential medicines and vaccines, access is the key focus.
And why Kwara State?
Well, its location in the north-central region is seen as strategic. They also see potential for expanding clinical trial centers there.
And the potential impact. Job creation.
Big time. The projection mentioned was over 500,000 jobs potentially created by growing this industry.
That's substantial. Any specific advice given to Kwara?
Yeah, interestingly, they were advised to revive their cassava production.
Cassava. For medicine?
Apparently, it can be used in pharmaceutical drug coloring, so connecting agriculture to pharma.
Clever. And is the state government receptive?
Seems so. The state commissioner for health sounded quite optimistic, highlighting Kwara's academic community, healthcare workforce, and private sector interests as reasons why they could become a real pharmaceutical hub.
Promising development for the state and the country's health security.
Absolutely. Now, turning to international relations and security, Nigeria has spoken out about an attack in India.
Oh, where's this?
In South Kashmir's Pahalgam region. A terrorist attack that unfortunately killed 26 people, mostly tourists, and injured several others.
That's terrible. Tourists targeted.
Just awful. Nigeria's Ministry of Foreign Affairs issued a strong condemnation. They expressed deep sympathy, calling it a tragic loss of innocent lives.
Did the statement say more?
It emphasized that terrorism is a global threat needing collective action and a firm commitment from everyone.
Which Nigeria understands all too well, given its own challenges.
Exactly. The statement highlighted that shared understanding and called for better global cooperation against terrorism and extremism.
Was it just solidarity then?
Yes, extending thoughts and prayers to India and reaffirming solidarity in seeking peace and justice. It follows another militant attack in Indian-held Kashmir just the week before, so tensions were already high.
Right, and India often points fingers at Pakistan in these situations, a complex and dangerous region.
Very much so. Okay, let's bring it back to Nigeria, specifically Edo State.
What's happening in Edo?
The executive secretary of the state's primary healthcare development agency, Dr. Coulson Oweremeyer, has been suspended.
Suspended? By whom?
By the governor, Monday Okapalo. The reason cited is alleged financial infractions. Pretty serious allegations.
So who's in charge now?
The secretary to the state government directed the most senior staff member at the agency to take over temporarily.
And will there be an investigation?
Yes, a special committee is going to be set up to look into the allegations thoroughly.
Okay, one to watch there. What about the global stage? Anything on the Russia-Ukraine conflict?
Yes, a significant announcement from Moscow. President Putin declared a unilateral ceasefire.
A ceasefire? Really? For how long?
Just 3 days, from May 8th to May 11th. The stated reason was humanitarian considerations.
3 days. How did Ukraine react?
With skepticism, as you might expect, they're pushing back, urging Russia to consider the longer 30-day truce that the U.S. had proposed earlier.
The one Ukraine accepted, but Russia turned down back in March.
That's the one. And the short ceasefire conveniently overlaps with Russia's Victory Day celebrations on May 9th.
Right, the World War II commemoration.
Ah.
Makes the timing interesting, doesn't it?
It does. And this comes just after U.S. President Donald Trump voiced doubts about Russia genuinely wanting peace. He even hinted at more sanctions, mentioning the missile strikes on civilian areas.
So the U.S. is still pushing for something more lasting.
Definitely. They want a permanent ceasefire. Ukraine's foreign minister basically said if Russia is serious about peace, they need to stop fighting immediately for at least 30 days, not just 3.
So a lot of distrust around this 3-day pause. We'll see if it holds and what happens next.
Absolutely. And finally, let's look at U.S. politics briefly. President Trump's reaction to some recent polling.
The 100-day approval ratings. How are they looking?
Not great for him, according to some polls. An ABC News Washington Post Ipsos poll put his approval at 39%, disapproval at 55%. They called it the lowest 100-day rating in 80 years.
Ouch. Any other polls?
A New York Times Siena poll was a bit better for him, 42% approval, but it also highlighted that voters have doubts about his agenda.
And how did Trump take this news?
Predictably, perhaps. He went on Truth Social, his platform, and basically claimed the polls were compromised, fake news, essentially.
Called the press biased and corrupt.
You got it. Standard reaction when faced with unfavorable numbers.
Right. So that covers quite a bit of ground for today's headlines.
It certainly does. A lot happening both domestically and internationally.
That brings us to the end of our exploration of today's top news headlines.
Thank you for listening to today's top news headlines on IAMC Radio and podcast.